that's definitely got the 1960s sound, doesn't it? That's Billy Scott, the Georgia Prophets in California. And you say you really enjoyed those old songs, right, Billy?
Absolutely. They were the better songs back then. They were very well produced. The orchestration in most of those songs back then were the natural instruments.
Yes.
Today, there's so much synthesized keyboard horns and keyboard strings and that sort of thing that to me the sound is not the same. It's not as authentic and it just something that needs to be desired with some of these songs. Some of them sound like crap.
Oh yeah,
but people do what they can afford to do today because back then it didn't cost as much to produce. Today, in order to get live authentic horns and strings, it costs a lot of money.
Yeah,
even the studio time now.
Exactly. But I think that was really the hallmark of what I call the good old Southern sound of rock and roll was the horn bands, and like Gene Lee of the Epics, he and I are good buddies, and we're both horn players.
Yeah,
and it's just nothing like having a live horn, saxophones, trumpets, maybe a little trombone in there, for specialty. But boy, yeah. The sound of that music from the 60s and early 70s, I think there was a good feeling. And the other thing about that music from back in those days is it was feel-good music. It was about happy subjects, and the beats were upbeat. And
that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, and it was just nothing like the way the music used to sound back in those days.
That's what we're talking about. The feel, the personality of the songs. When we used to sing songs, there was a certain feeling when you sang.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't just animated, automated sound.
And it wasn't perfect either. That's the other thing.
It wasn't perfect. It didn't have to be perfect back then.
Exactly. It was about it was and I guess in some ways. Every performance, recorded or live, was really a live performance because you couldn't go back and tweak it with the pitch adjusters and all those things they have in music today.
That's true.
That's
true. You listen to a lot of those songs, and a lot of those guys didn't sing totally on pitch, but we didn't care. It was the song, the rhythm, the sound, the vocal of the artist. Every artist had their own signature vocals.
Mm-hmm.
Today, with a lot of what they call R&B music today, all those guys sound alike.
Mm-hmm.
To me,
yeah.
And I'm sure to a lot of other people, they all sound alike. But James Brown had his own sound. He sounded different from Hank Ballard. And Hank Ballard sounded different from Solomon Burke, and Solomon Burke sounded different from Sam Cooke. Sam Cooke sounded
exactly
different from David Ruffin. So all these people had a signature vocal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But today, you don't have that.
I was just thinking about something else too along those same lines. You mentioned Solomon Burke. Now, Solomon was a journeyman musician. He was out there so much. And yet he never had a top 40 song.
Isn't that terrible?
Yeah. And it's just amazing to me how that happened. And, of course, I think we're still seeing the same sort of thing going on today where musicians, the indie artists out there today are working so hard. They're producing some really great stuff, but they're not breaking through to the top 40 because it's so controlled.
Radio is probably too controlled. But at the same time, we have to realize, too, we have 10,000 more artists than we had before.
Yeah.
Everybody has a brother, sister, or cousin, aunt, uncle, mother, father that sings,
mm-hmm.
that records.
Yeah.
So it's not as special as it used to be.
That's true. That's true.
Okay? So now and everybody's recording, so the radio can't play everybody's songs.
Which is one reason I like doing a show here at WUSC, because we don't play any top 40 stuff here. Everything we do is the indie artists, and you get to hear the music that you wouldn't hear anywhere else.
Yeah.
Speaking of music, let's jump forward about 20 years from where we were in the late 60s to the 80s.
Okay.
And you had a song out there, Sure Got Away With My Heart, which has also been re-released on a new compilation CD from Shanty Records, Fessa Hook's Fish Fry. So tell me about this song.
Well, I got a call from David Wade about that song, and I had just totally forgotten about this song because it's not in my repertoire when I'm on the road singing. And I had totally forgotten about that song. That song, I chose that song to go on my self-titled album, Billy Scott, back in 1989. And for whatever reasons, I was listening to country radio, and I heard this song, and I went like, "Who is that? I like that song." and it was John Anderson, and I went like, I like that song so much that I'm going to put a little Billy Scott twist on it, and put it on my new album.
Well, let's listen to it right now. Here comes Billy Scott. Sure Got Away With My Heart. Man, what a sound here. That's the sound 1980s. That's Billy Scott here on WUSC-FM, and it's called Sure Got Away With My Heart. We were just talking, Billy, about how the business has changed over the years, and you know, you can't afford the big bands that you used to have back in those days. It's a lot thinner, I guess, is one way to put it.
Yeah. And you know, and I guess that's why a lot of producers use those keyboards to get the sounds that they simulate sounds, horn sounds, and string sounds, and things like that on these recordings now, because things have changed so much. I remember back in the day, you know, when you traveled the Chitlin Circuit back then, and a lot of people don't even know what that means, but the Chitlin Circuit, you know, you just went from club to club and place to place, and you really didn't care about how much money you made. You were so excited about singing your songs and being on stage and watching the people dance and have fun. As long as you had a hotel room and a few dollars where you could eat, you're pretty much happy with that.
Well, the other thing, of course, with the Chitlin Circuit and stringing along, you basically put together tours back in those days where you went from venue to venue. Just about every night of the week you were doing something. So the band stayed together with the artists, with the musicians and the singers.
Right.
And you basically, it was cheaper per performance, I guess, to have a band with you back in those days than today, where the gigs are further apart, they're geographically spaced, they're further apart in time. You have to get together, group together, travel, and come back. And like you said offline just a couple moments ago, by the time you put it all together, you're earning $4 an hour.
Yeah. You know, and musicians today, they say, "Well, man, I can't work for that. I can't go out all the way down to Florida, and I'm only making that $5 an hour, $6 an hour, and everything." And I say, well, if we don't go down there, they won't get to see us.
Right.
So what do you want? They want the money.
They want the money.
I want the exposure. They want the money. So it's kind of a catch-22 situation for me and a lot of other artists, too. You know, because we want everybody to hear us. We want everybody to see us. And as we get older...
You and I both resemble that.
I like that word. As we get older,
yes,
you know, the gigs are a little bit more far and few between. And with myself, you know, I'm older, but yet I still have lots of energy, and on stage. And people like that. So people come to see me for that and say, "Well, look at that old guy, man. He's still good." You know,
it's very interesting you should say that, because you were just performing a couple of weekends ago at the Dirty Dancing Festival up at Lake Lure.
Yes.
And I was talking with Trudy Harris, who was also on the card with you up there.
Yes.
And she said that you just laid them out when you performed that night.
That's every night.
Yeah. Well, I know that you put that much effort into everything you do.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to get across here is that you wowed the audience. The audience just wasn't quite ready for the show that you put on. They were expecting, I guess, what you're used to seeing today, but you know, they got you instead. and they were just overwhelmed and very, very pleased. I understand the reaction was very strong and powerful and a good reaction to your performance
it was
that
super.
night.
You know, when you go out, as time goes by and you get older, there are younger groups coming up behind you.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said to myself a few years back, I said, you know, you've got to show the public and those younger guys who you are. And you can't slow down. You have to keep that momentum, and that's what I do.
Absolutely. And speaking of keeping up that momentum, big rear window. 3 words. Now, this is a jumping song, man.
Well, you know, I've had a lot of fun recording that song. And I recorded that song in Charlotte. I was signed with a record company called Le Mans Records. I was with them for about 10 years, and that was one of the songs on my self-titled CD that I had lots of fun recording. I thought about it at first. I mean, after it was released, and I said, you know, that song has kind of like a double connotation to it.
Oh yeah.
maybe I shouldn't have done that, but it's too late now.
It's out there now.
It's out there.
Okay, so let's give a listen to double entendres and everything. A little big rear window. Here comes Billy Scott and the Prophets here on WUSC-FM.
Well, if I bring her a little taste, oh, girl, let me slip inside.
Man, some feel-good music for sure. There you go. Oh, yeah. Big rear window, Billy Scott and the Prophets.
What a song. That's a fun, good, upbeat, fun dancing song.
You know what? We do a thing in radio called the air chair behind boogie.
Really?
And definitely, I definitely am moving around. I wear out so many chairs in this studio from playing this music. Oh man,
That's great.
I got to tell you, it's been a real pleasure, Billy. I thank you so much for coming on today, and we're going to do this again sometime soon, sometime later on this fall, man. That's
Well,
for
the
sure.
pleasure was mine, Rick, and hats off to you guys that keep this music alive and continue to interview us, what they call legends of the music, and continue to do what you do because you do a great job. And I thank you so very, very much for the interview this morning.
Well, the pleasure's all mine. You did a great job today.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Billy Scott.
Thank you, Rick.
All right. See you, man.
Bye.
Bye-bye.